we'll talk to a man who has walked in these shoes before, starting for the first time for the Georgia Bulldogs. What does it mean? The expectations, how you manage them. The former Georgia quarterback, an all-time memorable member of the locker room, Hutson Mason.
Glad to be here, I guess.
In the locker room on the Fan 680, 93.7 FM. Good morning, Hut.
Good morning, guys.
You look good.
I feel great.
Your haircut looks good. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. You look good.
Hair needs a little bit of an update, but we'll get over to Great Clips maybe this weekend.
Yeah, you
I'd
and your
say
boy
C+.
Kirk Cousins. Great Clips, guys.
You know, I used to pay the $90 for the haircut, and then I started paying the $30 for the haircut. And I go, you know what? I'm not seeing that big of a difference. I don't know if that's an indictment on the barber that used to cut me for $90, but
no, it's just a shop.
If you get the same result for $70 cheaper, might as well go for the $30 cut.
I got a primer, too.
$60 cheaper, but it's not a big deal. We never get at math.
We were bad at math, and you never went to the library anyway. So.
Somebody gave me some of the background information on a place like that. They said all of the haircuts are scheduled for 14 minutes. So they're supposed to get you in and get you out in 14 minutes per customer.
That is a cultural
There's
thing.
some things that should be...
yeah, if you're trying to rush me out of the chair in 14 minutes...
You got to line a brother up.
Yeah.
I'm going to need to have you take your time.
I mean, could you imagine a surgeon saying, hey, I got to get you in and out of here in 9 minutes. I don't care if I get it right. Let's just churn and burn, baby.
I'm going to tell you, that is a cultural thing because love Steve, our barber, that's been doing cutting Kane's hair forever. There's never a chance we're getting out of there in 14 minutes. We might not get out of there in 44 minutes.
Did you guys wake up this morning feeling a little different?
Oh, yeah, it's football season.
Yeah, it's time for some football. It is. It was good Saturday to be able to sit in front of the TV for a couple of hours, and you know, it's here. We have to do all these lists and what ifs, and now you got some football. And now that everybody gets going this week, yeah, you do feel a little differently. A guy that is going to feel differently, Gunner Stockton. You know what it's like. You follow Aaron Murray, who was Mr. Everything. He was Mr. SEC career passing yards leader. And then you follow him for your first career start, your senior season. When does the anxiety go away, and what is the mindset week one?
Never.
A little like butterflies you're talking about to start the season.
Yeah.
Or a little worse than that.
Never.
After you start a couple games, you got to ease in a little bit.
I still wake up in the middle of the night with anxiety.
About starting a football game?
I mean, you're not going
bad
in
decisions. Still have nightmares of throwing that pick late, that out route late, you know.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Pitching, throwing it. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your question, but go ahead, Mr. Hometeam.
Well, no, I finished. You know, when does the anxiety, and for Gunner Stockton, with a lot on the line, and he was thrown into a very tough situation second half of the SEC championship game, but now it's all on him. How do you manage expectations and anxiety, even though it is the thundering herd of Marshall coming into Sanford?
Somebody told me this. I think it might have been, maybe it could have been Coach Bobo, but the three most, I think, pressure jobs in the state of Georgia: the governor, the head football coach at the University of Georgia, and the starting quarterback at the University of Georgia. Three most pressure jobs.
And I don't think that's the order it goes in.
Yeah, no order specifically, but just top three. So when you ask, like, hey, how's the anxiety? It never really goes away. I mean, you start to get, maybe more, but the pressure of the expectation to deliver and to win, you got to it never really goes away. So now the butterflies of, hey, the first time things, the trotting out there, yeah, that stuff gets maybe kind of dissipates over time, and you get more and more comfortable. But I mean, we're sitting here on the Monday of week one of college football. How Gunner plays over the course of 12, 13, 14, 15 games will be highly scrutinized.
Right.
I mean, it really can be boiled down to you are a hero or a villain. And look at Carson Beck last year. Mm-hmm. Going into year two, at the beginning of the year, he was not as scrutinized as he was by the end of the year. So that's why the entertainment factor, and I think the plot of following your teams in the SEC, especially this year, where there really isn't a standout team that feels like they are so dominant, like Georgia has been or Alabama was under Nick Saban. It feels like every team is kind of maybe in that 10-2, maybe that A lot of them in that 8-4 range, and a game here or there could be the big difference.
We've been talking about Gunner all off season and trying to figure out what would be a good year for him. Because when you look at Carson a year ago, 28 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 65% completions, 3,485 yards, and we talked, chronicled all the drops that Georgia dealt with. Do you have a number line that you look at Gunner and say this could be a good year?
How many picks did Carson throw last year?
12.
12. Okay, I've always thought like a 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio is really good.
Which he had. He had 28 to 12.
I think, over a 12-game span, if you can keep your interceptions down below 10, that's usually a good year. Throw for 3,000 yards. Mm-hmm. But of all the statistics that you just threw out, I mean, Georgia still won the SEC title last year, and their offense was extremely inconsistent, and their defense really underperformed compared to what Georgia's defense is. And so maybe that's a compliment, and it is a compliment of like Kirby Smart's floor now at Georgia. But regardless, if they don't play better around him this year, they are probably going to be more of the 8-4 range instead of the 10-2 range. If they finish 12th in the SEC again in rushing, it's not. And they have the amount of inconsistencies in the drops and the slow starts through all that, like copy and paste last year's team into this year. They're not going to be sitting in Atlanta. I think there's too much parity around the league. I don't think they're as dominant in terms of their depth as they've been the years past, where they were just rolling 5 stars and top 5 draft picks and first-round draft picks. A lot of that is because of the portal and things like that. But they've got to play better around them, which is why I think maybe the most important unit in the SEC this year is Georgia's offensive line. Like if you said, hey, most important unit going into the college football season, I'd say Georgia's offensive line and how they play.
Which is crazy to say because offensive line at Georgia for as long as Kirby's been here has been a given. Like it's like the big joker in spades. It's been a guarantee that they're going to be great until last year. You think they're going to be better though on the offensive line, just health. Would you not? Health
always plays a factor. I mean, a huge factor. You can't control that, right? But What are the things you can control? Scheme, right? Maybe sometimes a guy is playing left guard. He should be playing right guard. You can rotate some guys in there, but scheme is a big thing. I think there's some other things that you can do as well, but the run game, I mean, the running back, the quarterback, getting him in the right plays, the right checks. I don't know that they have maybe the first-round draft picks going into this year as they've had in the years past, and so another way to put that is like, hey, do they have the talent? Like, they're talented compared to, like, Georgia, but, like, do they have the 5-star, the first-round draft picks that they've had? They lost some guys last year. So it's a giant question mark. I think that's what makes Georgia and maybe the SEC this year so intriguing going into year one. 10 out of the last 11 years, I believe I heard this stat this weekend, 10 out of the last 11 years, the SEC has been won by 2 teams.
Georgia and Alabama.
Alabama and Georgia.
And LSU was the one-off in 2019.
And so, and Texas is the favorite going into this year. Mm-hmm. And so when you think about the dominance that has been Nick Saban and Kirby Smart, and here we are, it's been a top-heavy league. Now, there's been some teams maybe in the middle or toward the bottom where people say, hey, the SEC is deeper than ever other conferences. I think essentially what they're saying is like, hey, the team that's 8-4 in the SEC is probably a better team than an 8-4 in the ACC or the Big 12. But it doesn't feel like it's top-heavy this year. And I personally believe that I don't think we're going to see an undefeated team this year in the SEC. I really don't feel convicted that we're going to see an 11-1. I think we're going to see a couple 10-2s and a lot of 8-4s.
Hutson Mason joining us here in the locker room on the Fan 680 and 93.7 FM.
Thoughts on the first 2 games, Marshall and Austin Peay. Good for this team, kind of good for a first-year starting quarterback, or would you rather have seen them open up with a Tennessee as opposed to playing them week 3 up there?
Always, I think from hey, can you really get a feel for who you are the first month of the season? Or even the first 2 weeks, because they played Tennessee week 3. That's still technically considered the first month. I would always like a strong opponent in there. But I think Kirby Smart's probably sitting there going these 2 games are strategic. But they've opened up with big-time games. I mean, you think about Clemson and, Oregon in the years past. We have to remember, Gunner did play some big games at the end of the year. Like we're all, including myself, we keep saying, hey, he's new or But he came into the SEC championship game, and if you remember, they were trailing.
Right.
And so he got great experience in a come-from-behind victory there. And then in the Notre Dame game, obviously probably didn't play as great as we thought he was going to do as compared to the SEC, but they did some things around him that were pretty dumb and didn't help. But I think those two big games, like, yeah, he's a first-year starter technically because it's fully his thing now. But those two games at the end of the year, I mean, I remember my first start against Georgia Tech. It was truly my first start. Like, I didn't have two games at the end of the year against massive opponents.
Why'd you get in there? Was that did
Murray tore his ACL at the end of 2013? So I got the last couple
game
games
of the season in the bowl game.
The first start was against Georgia Tech. Yeah. So hopefully his first start, well, it's not his first start, but maybe his first big start of his first full-time year gets off to a better start than mine did.
One of the
You had
criticisms.
some decent numbers, though, did you not?
Well, we came from behind and won. Don't forget that. We didn't start like
You just reminded us, yeah. Hutson Mason joining us here in the locker room, former Georgia quarterback here on the Fan 680 93.7 FM. One of the criticisms of the offense and Mike Bobo, which was fair, the slow starts in the first half. What needs to change, and how does Gunner Stockton and this year's offensive line and running back group change that? Because there were some close games and opponents were closer than they had been in years past.
How do they change that? Well, I think part of it is like your offensive coordinator's kind of mindset to start the game. I think Coach Bobo got to meet with the media going into preseason camp, and I heard him say he took some blame for last year's slow starts. I think he phrased it as there were some times where they felt like they were just too conservative. So, there are, so you want to get your quarterback in the rhythm. You want to get him completions. There's all those things. But the first two games are going to be like, it's kind of, for Georgia, I feel like it's kind of all to gain, all to win, and nothing to lose. You're expected to go out there and win by 30 or 40 points.
Right.
And if you don't, people are going to be freaking out. And if you do, people are going to say, well, hey, that's what you should have done. So hopefully they stay healthy the first two games. I mean, Marshall, I'm sure you guys are doing a deep dive on Marshall. Nope.
Not happening.
Wednesday.
39-point favorite.
Well, they went 10-3 last year.
That's fine.
Bunch of new players. I think I read they got 70 new players in the transfer from this
70?
year to last year. Yeah, literally.
What in the world?
But you look across Georgia's roster, especially on offense, and you go, okay, hey, if this guy plays well, they might be 11-1. Mm-hmm. If this position group plays to what we think they can play, they might be 11-1. And it feels like it's just hinging on a lot of position groups on the offensive side of the ball, especially at quarterback. It's the most important position. But, I don't think anybody can sit up here confidently and tell you, hey, they know what they're going to get out of Georgia, especially on the offensive side of the ball, sitting here week one going into the year.
Hud, I could argue that you don't know what you're going to get across the top 10 of the college football rankings, because 7 new quarterbacks or 7 first-time starters, a guy like Carson Beck, obviously in a new place. When you look at the top of college football, we got monster games all this weekend. What's your general thought on who could be the favorite this year?
Well, about favorites, so one of the things I'm struggling with is Texas, Ohio State. Texas ranked the number 1 team in the country, right, in the AP poll, but yet they're not favored against the number 3 team. Maybe that's a home away thing.
That's the home thing.
Okay.
It's Vegas trying to make sure they get on the right
Just
side of
making
this
sure.
thing.
Trying to figure out that going into week one.
It's an even game. Pretend it's an even game.
I think Clemson, to me, Clemson is the most talented team coming into the year. Clemson would be my number 1 team.
Okay.
Outside of that, boy, you could make a case for a couple teams. I think you can make a case for Alabama. I think you can make a case for Georgia. I think you can make a case for Texas. What, to me, is the most interesting thing, and I said this last year, I mean, really, all of the teams in college football this year, Ohio State, Texas, Georgia, Alabama, breaking in new quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't recall a year where we have had across the SEC or maybe across college football where there's just that much unknown at the most important position in college football. And I think that's why a lot of people like Clemson, because of Cade Klubnik. They've seen him play for 3 years, plus they got a lot of returning pieces around him. But I also think that that's one of the things that favors and puts a lot of expectation on LSU. Garrett Nussmeier was probably the biggest return player or return piece in college football to their team this year, or in the offseason. I mean, when he came back to LSU, it was like hey, we got our first-round draft pick quarterback back.
Sure.
And so I think LSU has the most known at quarterback, and they've probably got the most expectation. I call it like, hey, got to get it done this year. My got to get it done this year are Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze, Brent Venables at Oklahoma. You could also throw in Brian Kelly into that mix, and Coach Bobo.
You threw him out there. All right. So he's got to make sure that his offense runs even with a first-year starter no matter what. And if he doesn't, he's got to deal with the consequences.
I don't see a situation where, and it may not just be about numbers, but I don't see a situation this year where some of these offensive coaches make it out if there's a year like there was last year.
And lastly, the legs of Gunner Stockton. How should they be used? You know, Stetson Bennett had 10 rushing touchdowns in a title year. How should his legs be used to make him a dual threat quarterback to soften up defenses?
You know, guys, I felt like this is the one element, and maybe because Georgia's kind of had more pocket quarterbacks, they haven't been like this, but it feels like a lot of other teams in college football are kind of ahead of us in this era, in this part of offensive football. And that is being like design quarterback runs. And there's a balance there because you don't want your quarterback taking a bunch of shots. But you look at the teams that have had success against Georgia, they're predominantly mobile quarterbacks. And so when you've got a quarterback like Gunner Stockton, who is definitely mobile and he's athletic, I think it's a disadvantage, or you hurt yourself if you don't find ways to get him 6 to 8 runs a game. And let him do the ad-libbing stuff like naturally as it comes. That will naturally make the offense harder to defend. When he goes back to pass and nothing's open and he ends up using his own legs as a check down.
And Stetson was really good.
Yeah. But for whatever reason, we haven't been – I think we do a little bit of the zone read stuff, but I do think there's some opportunity to be smart but to also make yourself much harder to defend. I just think it's something – I don't know if it's – Coach Bobo, you think about his career – he's always had pretty pocket guys.
Right.
And so I think there's an opportunity there. I've been kind of saying this for years.
Come on, Bobo, run the ball.
With the quarterback.
With the quarterback.
So I would love to see it. I don't know if we'll see a lot of it, but it certainly would make Georgia's offense. When you think about especially trying to run the ball more efficiently, I think it'd be a huge advantage.
Well, it is exciting.
I was a dual threat quarterback.
You were, and you absolutely
That's
were.
a hot take.
So whenever you're able to do so, hopefully he'll get a chance to do so. Well, we'll be talking to you every Monday around this time. We look forward to seeing your face on a regular basis, and we'll get the breakdown, the inside skinny critique and criticism of the Georgia Bulldogs.
Hey, you guys
Hutson
spoke,
Mason.
and I listened.
What do you got there?
What's that?
Some goodies for us?
What you got in there? It's a box.
Oh.
Well, let's go.
Oh, my goodness gracious. That's a
Settle down. You're not getting the whole
outside.
box.
I don't do that.
Hold him down.
Chick-fil-A has challenged us to carry about 40 of these BOG, Be Our Guest cards in our pocket everywhere we go, and to hand them out to people. Hey, come be a guest on us at your local Chick-fil-A restaurant. So I brought some of these in this morning. There's a little griping from out here in the cafeteria that, I didn't bring these last Monday. It's almost like every time I come, they're expected, but not from you guys, more from, the suits and ties. But I came prepared this morning. And wanted to give you guys some BOG cards.
Well, we will definitely be your guests.
Our guest.
We're the breakfast show. There he is, Hutson Mason, joining us here in the locker room on the Fan, 680 93.7 FM.